What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the after show. I am Kmplxity. We are going to be covering the DMs between KeemStar and Linx and what led up to the video call between the two of them, that 3-hour goon sesh. So let's get right into it. Right here we have Linx at Drama Queen Linx on Twitter posting the full DMs between the two of them. Now, personally, I'm not somebody who's about sharing DMs. Usually it's only should be used or only shared or shown if you're trying to prove something, or if you're if you're being accused of something, or you're accusing somebody of something and they're saying, no, that didn't happen. Generally, rule of thumb on the internet, especially on YouTube, is that you just do not share DMs. So let's get right into it. First off, KeemStar is reaching out to Linx, letting her know, hey, Lord Rush just hit me up. It's not him. Some clown is framing him. Sorry that happened to you. Would not wish that on anyone. If you guys don't know, there was somebody posing as Lord Rush and basically spreading Linx's nudes around in different various servers. But a very quick look into the account, you could tell it wasn't the actual Lord Rush. It had an underscore on it in the name. You could also see when it was created, and Rush, obviously, his Discord account has been around for at least almost a year at this point, if you're looking at it just strictly from a local live perspective. But basically it ended up finding out that it was either confirmed or practically confirmed to be her transgender boyfriend, and she goes more detail into that tumultuous relationship in the call, but that is the working theory that we've heard so far, is that basically it was her ex-boyfriend, the transgender one, not Deluminate. So he goes further on to say, and I think you know him well enough that he would not do anything like that. It's not his style at all. Now, in the comments, links of her sharing her own nudes on Twitter, basically saying, like, if you're going to go ahead and threaten to leak these, then I'm going to go ahead and leak them first. She does state that she doesn't think that it's Lord Rush. So while not a complete acknowledgement that it's not him, it's still something. I would say that she should probably write an addendum on Twitter wholeheartedly stating that she knows it's not him, but that's just me. It's not his style at all. So let's see. She turns around and says, I understand. Thank you for letting me know. I did say I have no idea who it is. Pretty sure it's the ex framing him, honestly. KeemStar says, yeah, who the fuck would even have something like that? That's who leaked. She responds with, only one is Bale, which is the transgender boyfriend, over Discord. Either way, it's sick and twisted. This is why I did that video outing him and the abuse from the last 5 years and everything he has done. Him showing up trying to break in during that stream is proof enough he'd go far enough to do this. Didn't watch her stream, had no idea he was trying to break into her door. That's why you should always keep the wireless hole puncher around. I'm waiting on more information. He turns around and says, well, glass half full, at least it's a good photo. I hate you, but you need help, hit me up. It's a bit interesting. I'm not exactly sure why you would turn around and say that you hate somebody just out of the blue, but we are under the belief that Keem was on on multitude of things. He was smoking weed, on Adderall, and also drunk at this point. She turns around and says, you know what's fucked up? I hate you too, but I do miss it. I appreciate it. On the bright side, at least I'm beating the flat chest allegations. He turns around and says, you photoshopped that. I know you. Good work. She turns around and says, I actually didn't. I could prove it though. He turns around and says, fine, I'll play ball. Prove. She says, you want me to send you a video? He turns around and says, I'm just LOL. So it seems like, in all honesty here, she was the very first person to offer skin, or at least to offer in some way, shape, or form proof that they're real. I don't know about you guys, but typically if somebody says, oh yeah, I can prove that this is as big as I say it is, that's a bit flirty. It's a way to just try and like creak your foot in the door, not to just kicking it right open. She turns around and says, oh darn, that's too bad. This is definitely flirting. Like, come on, man. Like, there's no denying that it's flirting. You're here saying, oh no, darn, you don't want me to prove that my titties are as big as they are. Like, come on. He turns around and says, fuck, I do miss you, stupid ass. Don't send anything. Will probably turn into future drama. I'll just trust you. Well, he wasn't wrong about that. She turns around and says, be honest, you know I'm content and I was good for the show. I was willing to do absolutely anything for you and I looked up to you like you were my one shot in life. I really thought I was gonna make you proud. When I baited Becky with that lewd photo, that was hilarious. This is kind of starting to look a little bit like she looked at him almost like a mentor. I mean, come on. I was willing to do absolutely anything for you. Eesh. It's a little telling. And I looked up to you like you were my one shot in life. I think you can go either way with this, right? On one hand, you can turn around and say that she wanted to please him. That's why she got on cam and did all of that. On the other hand, you can turn around and say that he sees this as an opportunity to, hey, you said you'd do anything for me, you know? But at the end of the day, it's up to your interpretation of what this means. Personally, it looks like she was wanting him more than he was wanting her. And it kind of sounds like it too. Once we get into the rest of the DMs, we'll see exactly how it goes. She turns around and says, I'm not going to say anything. All right, come on, the little scroll. I'm not going to say anything about this though. Cross my heart. I just miss it. And I'm glad to know the feeling's mutual. He says, yeah, maybe, but I looked at you as a friend. Someone I could guide into something great. You just too snaky, girl. I mean, yeah. I mean, listen, Linx, we've said it 1.5 million times. You're a snake, but you are who you are, and you don't try to pretend to be anybody other than who you are. If you work with Keem, you know that, hey, your job's on the line every single day. If you work with Linx, hey, she might leak your DMs. It is what it is. She sends a picture of herself in the lolcow hoodie and with a heart. He turns around and says, what? We blocked your order. And she turns around and says, actually, he says, I saw it come in, I blocked it. Yes, I tried to cuck that order. I refunded the sweater. Fucking hell, now I'm mad. She turns around and says, that's so mean. What the fuck, Keem? You would do that to me. I got so happy getting it and supporting you. Frowny face. She turned around and said, mean, please, it would have been funny. Bitch, you drunk. She turns around and says, I would have made it content. Maybe what if I was? Obviously in response to him asking if she's drunk. He says, no way, for real. She states that I've been going through a really rough time lately, so I just wanted to try it. He then turns around and says, fuck, let's get on a call. No wonder you're offering proof. Proof in all capital with 4 or 5 exclamation points, LOL. Okay, that's not the best look in the world, because you're acknowledging the fact that the only reason she's offering to show herself off, whether in that moment or, you know, content that's already been taken, is because she has been drinking. It's not a good look. That's kind of like saying, oh, that's kind of like if somebody was to say, I'm not drunk enough to sleep with you, so you grab them another shot. Up to your interpretation. Where do you want to call? Discord. Let me grab another claw. In reference to a white claw, I'm assuming. Bro, I can't even find your Discord. Got an alt. She turns around and says, I do. You got me blocked though. That's why. 1 second. KeemStar says, wait, I have an alt. She says, my main is Linx 2003. He responds with lolcowlive _97096. Add this, added in lolcow. She sends a few. She sends a well-dressed up picture of herself in what looks like all black, kind of going for a Morticia vibe, and then one with her being blonde. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like this is different. I'm pretty sure, no, this is a recent photo that she took too, but look at it might just be the angle of the camera, but my gosh, she looks almost anorexic here, whereas her here, it looks like she actually has put on some healthy weight. He says, adding you on main. She responds with okie dokie. They tried to video call at 6:42 a.m., which lasted 0 seconds. Another video call that lasted 31 minutes, and another video call that lasted 20 minutes. Now, in the recording, I do remember, or in other DMs, they do try to, I believe it is, like, get on Discord, and Discord doesn't work, but this here is on Twitter. So I don't know. I don't believe that in the whole 3.5 hour call that she put up, if she labels like when it is or like what platform they're using, I don't remember. But here we have the full Discord call. It says Linx's group. This says the whole conversation that happened on Discord where he asks 3 times to send pictures. So let's see, what's the playback speed is at 1. Let's go 75. Says April 12th, 2025 at 5:34 a.m. her time. KeemStar, yo, Linx, yo. They had a call that lasted 45 minutes. KeemStar says Discord down. Linx says try now. KeemStar says, can you hear me? She says, no, I guess you can't hear me either. Looks like Discord fucking up again. He says, no, ha ha ha. How does Discord crash right now? Fully leave, OMG. They try to call again. It lasted a few seconds. Seems like they weren't able to talk. He says, bro, Discord is down. She says, no. He says, the timing, ha ha ha. That's actually fucking hilarious. She turns around and says, they try to call for another minute. It doesn't work, I'm assuming. How are we in call but can't hear each other? Discord has been having some issues lately, but bro was definitely looking for the ball. I mean, look, when you're trying to get it on with somebody and you're it's long distance, like sometimes that's all you can do. But it would seem they're both going for it. They're definitely both trying. She turns around and says, bro, WTF is wrong with Discord lately. Can you see me? My cam is on. Okay, so she was the first one to initiate putting a camera on. He turns around and says, nope, nor here. Did not get hit with nuke. N-A. Oh. Bro, Discord is dog shit lately. He turns around and says, I don't know. Talk about edging. Trying to get that glaze ready. They tried to call again. 2 minutes didn't work. It would seem she sends a screenshot of their video call with her obviously having her cam on. She says, this is what it's doing for me. KeemStar says, end on my end too. I think he meant to say, and on my end too. Who knows? She says, wow, Discord is a fucking slut for this one. KeemStar turns around and says, I was trying to see the slut get railed. All caps. Linx turns around and says, what the fuck, dude? KeemStar says, bro, I can't even hear you when I call for audio only. She says, how is disc fucking up this much? He says, I don't know, but it's 100% Discord. I just tried to join a VC, does not work. Damn, talk about cucking the content. Discord, for shame, bro, for shame. She says, yeah, same on my end. Wow, you'd think they'd fix these bugs by now. Jesus. Listen. It's they don't use their own servers. Come on now. So invested in this storyline, I'm asking for a refund. They try to call again. It only lasts a few seconds. He says, can't hear, fuck my life. She says, me either, on my life. And sends an emoji of Hank Hill. Nice. KeemStar then says, LOL, okay, send more pic till this passes. Bro was like, look, if I can't see you on video, I'm definitely gonna get some pictures out of it. She turns around and says, it's 6:30 in the morning. How are you still alive? Do you ever sleep? KeemStar responds with fire. I'm assuming she sent a pic. He continues to say, more pic, my next rest might be with you. Think he meant to say maybe. Bro, wait, who the fuck were these even for? Do not lie, all caps. Linx said they were for the men he wanted me to sleep with, in reference to Bale, who was her ex of 5 years, who apparently was a cuck. He enjoyed her sleeping with his friends while he watched. KeemStar says in all caps, why did I ask you? Linx turns around and says, I never sent them other than the one that got leaked today. That and the lewd I leaked to Becky. Why would you send Becky a lewd? He turns around and says, ha ha ha, bitch, you lying. Linx says, well, see if more get leaked. Oh, we'll see if more get leaked. KeemStar says, bro, I would never, all caps, ever. She turns around and says, so you're so gonna go back to hating me in a few hours, but that's okay. Just to know you missed me was enough. Kissy face. All right. Come on, you're enjoying the attention. Whether drunk or sober, you are enjoying the attention that you're getting here. I don't like any DMs leaked, no matter context, let alone nudes. You haven't even confessed your love for me. Bruh. That's a little egotistical. Why? So fucking, bro. I swear to God, man, this man's hubris knows no bounds. She turns around and says, while even if I wanted to leak this is insane and no one would believe me at all. Well, we see how that turned out. He turns around and says, everyone who believe everyone will believe this if they know us. Let's be real, he's definitely fucked up, or it's just his freaking inability to ever read and or type. She turns around and says, I don't love you like that, but I do miss what was and could have been, and loved working behind the scenes and getting the approval. So there again, I was right. She likes the attention. She likes getting approval. She likes the pat on the back. She enjoys feeling like she's doing a good job. It's not looking good. It does seem like she wants the attention, the approval, the acceptance. And when you combine those three things in a person, they are typically willing to do anything in order to get that person's approval. He turns around and says, I think it's more than that, but okay, play it cool. Wait, what the fuck? Stop. I think it's more than that. Okay, so he thinks that she's obviously attracted to him, likes him in a romantic fashion. And she's basically turning around and saying, I liked it because you gave me attention, you gave me approval and praise, etc., etc. She sends a GIF that I'm gonna imagine is saying, oh, delusional. I thought it was gonna say imagination. He turns around and says, pause. Are you telling me the ex-cuck liked to control you, so you like me controlling you? Ew, no. Linx says, no, I actually hate being controlled, not gonna lie. He says, bet now more pics, bah ha 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 ha, all caps. Okay, so she says, I don't like being controlled, and you immediately turn around and say, now more pics? She turns around and says, besides, when have I ever been easily controlled? Keem says, look, bitch, never. Linx turns around and says, that's all I've taken for now. He says, it's don't 2 words shoot down and. The fuck? It's don't 2 words shoot down and. It's down to words? I have no clue. Guess I'll need to take more in the morning with the wig on too. He says, fuck my life, typing is gay. They tried to call for a few seconds. Or he tried to initiate a call for a few seconds. Linx says, yes, it is. He says, is this going to work? She says, Jesus fucking Christ. KeemStar says, bro, all caps, super long. She says, is this a sign? It might be. KeemStar says, yes, because we are the people that give up. No, in all caps. Follow me on Twitter. I'll call you there. WTF, you don't have it set up. Okay, so this was prior to them calling on Twitter? Linx says called. She misses a call. Then they have a call that lasts 19 minutes. KeemStar says, wait, what's your move? What's your move? Linx says, my move is do things that's positive for LCU, steer clear, and new nudes. He responds with LFAO. You missed the letter there, Sonny. Linx says, my damn head hurts, LMFAO. He says, me too, movement. Linx says, pics coming soon, just finishing streaming in a bit. Oh. So this means that she was streaming at this time? KeemStar says, what you doing today for LCU bridge fixing? Okay, and then she says, I correct the record about how it wasn't Rush. Well, I corrected the record about how it wasn't Rush, and I think he was account framed. Just say he was framed by my ex, and that I'm going to try to figure out how I can find out who did it. I'm assuming is what it is. Well, that's their DMs for this. Okay, so that was at 5:30. Oh, okay, so that's what it is. So 5:34, 5:35. So they added each other on Discord. Then they had this conversation on Discord. Oh, they added each other on Discord, had this conversation on Discord, then came back to call each other on freaking Twitter. Okay, so that's how it happened. Well, interesting. I mean, the game is weak, but I guess you really don't need a whole lot of you don't really need to spit any flames if somebody's already cooking for you. You know what I'm saying? This is interesting. Well, he did ask for pictures. I think that was, I think the funniest part was was it the second time he asked for him? Where was it? I can't remember. His texting is great though. Okay, here we go. Okay, send more pic till this passes. So basically, Bruddy's like, well, I can't see them on VC. So just send me another picture. Listen, I get it. But the level of demanding, okay, send more pic till this passes, bruh. More pic, my next rest be with you. my next rest might be with you. Oh, brother. At this point in time, I'm not saying that either of them are taking advantage of each other. It was interesting. I mean, it was interesting the fact that he found out that she was drunk and then wanted to hop on call with her. Now that could simply mean you can put it both ways. There's a couple of things you can derive from that. Like, okay, so she is drunk. Maybe it's better to talk rather than text because as you can see, he does not have the best ability to type at all. But on the other hand, you can turn around and try and say, oh, well, he found out she was drunk and wanted to get her on video call in order to be able to see how far it could move things. You could also turn around and say that, well, she offered up that information. She also was the first one to offer any sort of sexual material whatsoever. She did turn around and say, I have proof. And then when he says, I'm just LOL, she says, oh, darn, that's too bad. So it's some mutual flirting and DMs going on here, but I don't know. You guys tell us what you think in the comments below. We're gonna go ahead and be looking at the phone call as well, but I just thought we might as well take a look at what was leading up to those calls. As always, it's been your boy Kmplxity, and until next time, I will catch you in the next one, y'all. Peace.